Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Rise of the Microbrand Christmas Edition.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
All right, I thought either it was going to be the Santa hat or the Travelocity gnome hat. They're both red. Okay, so today's show, I ripped my partner away from his Christmas dinner. I am so sorry, Mr. Oglow. But anyways, we're partners. He's used to that. Anyway, we're going to be talking about a couple of different things. Basically building your brand to be authority, as well as these new editorial recommendations that everybody's been hearing about. But before we get into that, let's bring Kelsey on, the Christmas elf.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Where's your elf
Friday.
hat? You told me to put this on. You put on your elf hat.
I just really wanted to see this little Santa Claus hat on you.
You had one job.
I know.
One job. You were supposed to put on an elf hat.
Amazon's backed up. I don't know what to tell you. But
all right, tell people what to do.
All right. So join our group. It's thriving. We got a great community. We're really happy with everyone that's where it's come right now. If you guys are interested, you can find it on Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and eCommerce Collective. Looks like we have some people coming in. I have to check who this is, but Merry Christmas.
We didn't know if we'd be talking to ourselves today. Usually that's what we're doing anyways, but
yeah, thank you for joining us. We have 9 people on already.
Wow, that's great for Christmas.
Yeah, so
all right.
Welcome everyone. And if you're new here, you can find all the video content on the YouTube channel, Norman Farrar too. But we'll go ahead and put that.
And by the way, I got to take this hat off. My head is I'm going to start sweating like, there we go.
We're 2 minutes in. That's good enough.
Oh, okay, very good. You got the point. Okay, so anyways, hey, look, if you're watching a replay, just skip ahead. If you're on my personal page, you can always just go over to the official fan page and see all the content, highlights, and video that Kelsey puts up there for everybody. So, you got Muhammad, you got Rad. I can't see the Facebook users, but hey, welcome, guys. Glad everybody could join us today. All right. Anything else, Kels, before we get into the show?
No, I think that's it.
Well, you did your job now. There we go. Perfect. Hey, look, if you've got any questions for us today, please feel free to ask us anything. We'll try to get to them as soon as possible. And, by the way, it's kind of a laid back podcast today. It is Christmas Day, and Merry Christmas to everybody that's listening and or watching this after. But we're just going to sit back, relax. We're going to grab a cup of coffee, enjoy the show, and if you have any outside questions, things that might not, just an online question in general, just let us know. We've got a lot of time. Well, I told it, Shane, that would be at least a 5-hour podcast. So, right, Shane? 5 hours is not bad.
No big deal.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
And to you.
Got nothing
There's
better.
now, what did you have in that coffee?
This is just regular coffee. I mean, it's
I don't
6
believe
p.m. where I am, so getting ready for bed. Actually,
Yeah, we'll have to put we have to put a test to the listeners. Does anybody know where Andorra is? And we'll see. And by the way, Kelsey.
Yes.
Show the best Christmas present that anyone could ever receive.
All right, so I'm going to go and make this full screen just for a second.
Okay.
But
it's not R-rated, is it?
no.
Okay.
You got to see the other side.
So my brothers put together this little mug. Don't worry, the mugs are coming. They'll be here by the end of.
But that's not the important thing.
Yes, they'll be here hopefully next year. But it's those. I love my dog. So
there we go.
Yeah. Thanks,
All right. So Shane, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Before I do that, there's something important that I need to tell you.
Uh-oh.
Did you ever read Mad? Comics,
All the
Mad
time.
Magazine.
All the time.
I love those so much. I remember they had, once I bought an episode, and they just had a sticker page with different size pictures of screws, just so you could run around and put it over the heart for people who say, like, I heart my school, or I heart my dog, or whatever. It's just, to me, that just stuck my funny bone. I just thought that was,
Okay.
I'll never forget that. Thank you, Mad Magazine. Yeah. So
That's what you wanted to say.
Yeah, I thought, and it's I heart my anything. It just brings back those memories.
All right, good. Okay.
Anyways, you said it was going to be a casual podcast, so just carrying through.
I'm just letting you do your thing.
Yeah. So what do you want to know about me? All right. So yeah, we're obviously partners of prREACH. PR company, media, press releases, all that kind of stuff. Amazon seller for a long time. That's how we met a bunch of years back at an Amazon event. Where it seems like I met most of my friends over the last 7 or 8 years through Amazon meetings. And now I think that both of us are really focused. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff we do, obviously, but I think branding is really in that long-term vision, not just Amazon anymore. Like, I don't think that we've been Amazon focused for a long time, but we still do stuff there, of course, but focusing on getting off of Amazon.
Is that your stomach, by the way?
Oh, can you hear that?
No worries. No worries.
I'll go whack them with a stick. They're a little bit jacked up. It was a pretty big day for kids.
It was.
Especially little kids. Anyways, long-term stuff, branding, building brands, not just on Amazon, some longevity, some foundation. I think that's what we're all about nowadays. And that seems to be what most people who are contacting me lately are more interested in. They're either pretty decent sized Amazon sellers who are struggling on the offsite, or people who are starting to ramp it up on Amazon and starting to see that vision, that long-term scope, and what they need to do to, build that roadmap to diversify.
Sometimes we talk about different platforms of trying to get off of Amazon, that one-legged stool, and some people are adamant not to look outside Amazon because that's where your money is. I like to diversify. And one of the guests that we had, I forget who it was, but somebody told us about Boxed. And anybody listening, check it out. It is a very cool site for wholesaling. If you haven't heard of it, it's a very simple platform, and all you're doing is wholesaling your product. So you're not selling one-offs, you're selling cases of. And anyways, we're checking that out. We're going to experiment with that this year. But that's something that came up on one of our podcasts, and I don't know who I can give the credit to, but
it was Steven Selikoff.
Oh, right. Yeah. That was a great tip. And also, he told us about 2 other places right now. I can't remember the names of them, but check it out in the show notes. He put a couple of different platforms that nobody's really heard of. So anyways, check it out. So today, we for years, both of us really worked with just strictly press releases. You used it in the past. I used them in the past. We always believed that, building your brand to get the authority will get to the sales, or we'll get to trust, we'll get to the sales. And now you've put together a package that I love. You put together this brand builder package, and let's talk about that and why it works. And now, one of the things that I want to tell everybody, you could absolutely 100% do what you're doing. We're not selling anything on this. All we're doing is using this as an example to show you what you can do for external traffic with your Amazon listings or any other types of lift. This will work with Shopify or WooCommerce or whatever. But why don't you tell everybody about why you put this together and what it is?
Yeah, and even as we talk about it, people can go out there and to some degree emulate it on their own, not to use us. But so I think it all comes back to the fact that, well, when you talked about press releases, the interesting thing about press releases is that We know they work. How they work keeps changing over the years because Google treats them as a very separate type of content. And, you know, for a lot of people who, and this still happens occasionally, someone will call me up and say, hey, I want to launch my new product, or I want to ramp up my traffic. I'd like to do a press release. That's not going to happen. Like, that's not what they're for. Can they sometimes create viral things? Yeah, if you've got something really newsworthy that gets out there, sure, that can happen. That's not the norm. No pun intended. But it's, you know, it's for authority. It's just like, you know, no different than advertising. You know, you just touch points, getting in front of people's faces. But the benefit with press releases is that, unlike advertising, they stick around for a long time and you get the backlinks. So we know that works. Sometimes it's a little hard for some people to test because it's not always apples to apples. So it's only through our experience and time. And of course, we've enhanced our reporting to help with that, so you can see your SEO impact and all those things, which is wonderful. I don't want to talk about press releases too much, but so the point is we know, everybody in the world knows that content is, you know, king, right? It works. We know Google will reward you eventually. So if you start a blog tomorrow, that's wonderful. Great. Do one blog a month, whatever whatever you can do. You can manage social media, send signals. Great. It's going to be slow. You know, a lot of people start a blog and they get disinterested because they don't see the engagement. Just like social posting, you know, they post once a week or something. Oh, why isn't my social account taking off? Because you're not doing it enough. But eventually, over time, it might take 2 or 3 or 4 years, you will get that traction and start to get a little bit more love, and Google will reward you. So we know it works. It can just take a long time. Now, some people can be more aggressive. They can do a blog every day. You know, I've seen people do that, or, you know, 3 or 4 a week, or 2 a week, or whatever they can manage. Tie it in with their social, and they're very active and making videos and Facebook Lives and just doing stuff. Obviously, that's going to accelerate the process. 90% or maybe more of people I know don't do that, or won't do that, or can't do that, or, you know, are shy to be on camera, or whatever the reason is. So what we did was we created this thing called Brand Builder, and really it's a done for you monthly content system. And all we're doing is we're just feeding the Google machine what it wants. The difference with us is that because we have a media company, we can create the videos, we can do the press releases, we can do the content, we can, you know, all the stuff that we can do, and we package it together for people. And then the other thing that we can do is we push it out through our distribution networks or syndicate the content. So we're sort of accelerating this process. So instead of that one blog a month or 2 or 3, that's great. We're doing the same thing, but with lots of different content, push out to the distribution network. And what the distribution network means is it's going out to media sites and news sites and, you know, all these different kinds of places every single month after month. And those backlinks are coming to, you know, your homepage or your Amazon page or Shopify or wherever you want to direct those links to. And it's just, again, it's accelerating the process, but it's also a little bit of an SEO shortcut. And here's a good example. You're selling, I don't know, green silicone spatulas, and you are a fairly new business, or you're not ranked anywhere on Google, right? We know how much Amazon loves offsite sales, especially now with the A10 update. So you're not anywhere on Google. Maybe you're on page 5, page 8, you can't be found, whatever. When we apply our brand builder, we are often getting people results in 72 hours or less for a lot of their keywords. Now, if you want to rank for a heavyweight term, it's just not going to happen. I mean, you know, this isn't magic. But we can get you ranking on page 1, often at the top of page 1, within 72 hours for a lot of terms. We can actually go after quite a few terms. We go anywhere from, you know, 6 to 15 terms. Depends on the product and the keywords and all the different types of factors. But let's just say there's a dozen keywords. We might get 3 or 4. Page 1. Sometimes we get more. But here's the thing. It's not putting your Shopify page, your web page, your direct Amazon URL at the top of Google page 1 in 72 hours. If we could do that, I would be as rich as Bill Gates, I assume. what we are doing is we're getting a partner to publish that content piece. So it might end up being like a Yahoo article for example. So top of page 1, type in a certain keyword, green silicone spatula. There's a Yahoo article about your business. People click on it, they read it. Of course, there the link then goes to Amazon, Shopify, whatever. So that's why I say it's an SEO shortcut. It's a way to get your business or product or whatever onto page 1 when you really have no business being there. You really have no business. And so what we do is just apply this month after month after month. And of course, the idea is over time, we will get your page or your direct to Amazon URL, onto page 1. That's the goal. Whether it takes 2 months, whether it takes 12 months, it's just going to depend on the keyword, right? So, that's sort of in a nutshell brand builder, and why we love it. And when people say, well, look, Shane, I'm doing pretty well on Amazon now. I just hit 50K a month, and I'm super proud of myself, and I'm ready to rock and roll. And I'm wonderful, great, whatever that number is. And they're starting to look outside of Amazon. This is laying that groundwork, because what typically happens is Amazon sellers think, oh crap, so-and-so just got suspended overnight. Their business has been down for 3 weeks. All their employees are laid off. Like, you have no control because it's not your business. It's Amazon's business. You don't even have the customer data. It's their business you're billing. Make no mistake about it. And if you feel comfortable with that kind of risk, carry on. I'm not saying leave Amazon. Milk it for all it's worth. I think like all Amazon sellers have been around for a while, we've got that love-hate relationship. But the typical situation is an Amazon seller comes along and they're like, well, I better diversify. So I'm going to start a Shopify account. So they do that. And 3 months later, they've gotten 12 orders because you're responsible for your own traffic, which is an entirely different animal, right? And, they go back to Amazon because that's where you need to keep your focus, because that is your bread and butter. So I don't blame them for doing that. So this is a way to kind of soften the market up before you do that. Not only are you going to be getting links driven back to Amazon, which is great, but you can start to direct those links over time to Shopify. Even if you keep driving them back to Amazon, that's okay. It gives you an off Amazon presence, and you will start to get more authority, more recognition, and more traffic to your website eventually. And that's kind of our lead in to building your brand off of Amazon. Then we go to the next level, which is public relations and earned media, which takes it to the next level. But brand build is a nice way to soften the market, to get off of Amazon or get that exposure off of Amazon, even if you're driving your links back to Amazon in the meantime. I think we both know the value of building a list. So even if your Shopify account is only doing 10, 15%, or whatever that number is, 5%, it could be 50%, depends on the type of product too. When you build that list, you're starting to build your own business. And we know how valuable a list is. It's going to increase your multiples. As you build your brand, you can charge higher prices. You'll have a better conversion rate. You'll have a list of loyal friends. Launches become easier. There's just so many benefits to doing this. It makes no sense. If you have a long-term vision for your brand, it makes no sense to build an Amazon-only brand. And I know you and I both know some of the biggest players in this industry, and some of them were, just like you said, no, Amazon only. Now we're seeing them all make that move off of them. I don't know anyone who still preaches Amazon only. Well, nobody I can think of off the top of my head, but everybody's changed their tune over time.
Yeah. Yeah. So before I wanted to say a couple of things, but before I do that, I just wanted to give a few shout outs for everybody who's joining us today on Christmas Day. Hey, Rad, Mohammed, Avano, Hone, Tony, hey, all the way in Toronto, Atif, let's see, Tiffany, boy, Alan, Alan, you're in Singapore, Oleg, Chelsea Cohen. How are you, Chelsea? Elchin. Wow, we got a bunch of people on for Christmas Day. Thank you so much for joining us. So here's a couple of things that I just wanted to back up a little bit. And if I missed anybody, welcome again to our Christmas show. But, working on this, it's not just writing a blog article. Neil Patel talks about this. And, check out neilpatel.com. Really great content information, that he puts on there. But he says, don't even bother putting up a blog article if it's not the best on the page. And so many times, like we'll see people that'll launch a 250 word or 500 word blog article written from somebody doing it at $2 an hour, wherever, and they just want to get content up, and it's horrible content. I mean, one of the things I would suggest, like Chelsea, I just saw Chelsea on. She's an excellent content writer. Well, go to a company that specializes in content, or copywriting, or at least if you don't want to do that, say you're early into your Amazon business and you're trying to do everything yourself, which I wouldn't recommend, but maybe you should go to Digital Marketer and take a course on copywriting. There's all sorts of courses out there that you can go to. It used to be lynda.com. Now it's Learned LinkedIn. I think it's called Learned. Yeah, it's learned.linkedin.com, and they've taken over lynda.com. But there's so many outlets to do this. What we're looking at right now, when we're talking about writing articles, Shane, we're looking at a minimum of 1,500 words, right? So,
yeah, or a little bit less, but plan to add to it in the very near future.
Right. So, and the reason for that is, let's say you add another 250 words, maybe within the quarter, or another 250 words. What that does is Google will re-index it. And so you're going to be constantly refreshing, just like this. Thank you. Replenishing a cup of coffee. But it's similar to that, that Google will come back, check it out, and then it's going to re-index you, which is great. Now, the next thing to this is, like you said, if you can post it on your own website, perfect. Amazon, by the way, the update to the Google algorithm, there's two things. The one area that is weighted the highest is press releases, by the way. And then the next pretty close to that is, so it's items in the news and then content. So Google loves content. They've always loved knowledge and education-based content. And they've come back and said that. Now, guess what? Shane talked about the A10 algorithm. Well, it really, that's what some people are calling, we're calling it A10, but it's just an update to the A9 algorithm. Guess what they're looking for? External content, external traffic, quality, authority, links onto your Amazon listing. So let's say that you do, this is just one way of doing this. But, and I've talked about this before, but you create a really high quality blog article. How do you get people, sorry, we had some snow last night and I can hear the snowmobilers whipping by, but I don't know if you guys can. But anyways, write the article, and then what do? You can go in and just do kind of a talking head video about the article. So you want to get into Google's answer box, right? So you write a bit about the article, you ask a question, or what are the top 5 reasons to? You show the top 5 reasons. You continue to write, you write another table, and then you do a short video on it. Just a short video either on the table or some other aspect of the blog article, and you embed it. The reason why you want to embed it is because that will get people to stay on the page longer. People will click on the video. Now, while you publish that, I know this is long-winded, but if you do this, I'm telling you, this is gold. So you publish the article, Google likes it. A week later, maybe a little bit later, you write a press release about it. And the press release will actually take that video that you had just put for that blog article. You can embed that into most press release distribution companies. So now you've got, and then you can link the press release over to the blog article. So now you've got a press release that Google loves going over to your blog article, which is education and content based, which Google loves. And guess what? There's just one last thing. You link both, have a link both back to your Amazon listing, and it's a complete circle. So you're going to get the external traffic from the press release and the distribution network that you use. The blog article that's up there, if you just put it onto your website, is great. But if you put that through a distribution channel, you'll get double exposure. So what ends up happening is, we've seen this time after time after time, is because we're driving more traffic, we're seeing some incredible results. And there's one. So by doing this, now we're talking about, Chelsea's going to roll her eyes, and I know everybody else will probably roll their eyes when we say this, but I know she will. Let's talk about George. Okay, so this isn't an Amazon product. This is an Amazon service, but this can apply to anything. I don't care if you're a lawyer, chiropractor, or Amazon seller. Shane, explain what happened. And George doesn't mind us telling this. This was a case study we ran for him, which was just crazy. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. But by using a ton of traffic, and that's what I want to bring out on today's podcast. If you have content, high quality content, and you have that as external traffic, man, you can achieve some wild stuff. So why don't you talk a little bit about Clear Ads?
Yeah, and just before I get into that, there's two other things I want to mention. Number one, if you are doing your own blogs, and I love when people do their own blogs, because at the end of the day, you are the subject matter expert for your own product or brand or service or whatever you got going on, and you can talk with real authority on it. We can syndicate it, publish it on your site. We'll syndicate it. We'll push it out to our networks, and then run a press release, drive a link back to it. And YouTube's another one too. It's nice to, if you get the odd, every once in a quarter, you do a little YouTube video, whatever. Send links over there. YouTube sends a link back to Amazon. Just create this spider web. But anyways, yeah, it's funny you mentioned George, because actually I just got off the phone with him about 2 days ago. They gave me a little update, but. So for George, he tried that brand builder thing, and he's already got an SEO guy, he's doing Google ads and whatever advertising he's doing. He's tracking terms. So within 1 month, we moved all his terms up pages, not all to page 1, but somewhere, page 4 went to page 3 or 2 or whatever. Lots of great page 1 exposure for, and sorry, for those who don't know, I'm talking about George over at Clear Ads. It's an Amazon DSP agency. It's the demand side platform, which is a special component of advertising on Amazon. Anyways, so we were going for terms like advertising on Amazon or Amazon DSP, and we started to outrank Amazon for all their own terms. So they actually gave George a call, and it wasn't a nice call, because unfortunately, in some of our content we put out, we violated their terms of service. Now, he didn't know he was in violation when he told us to write it. And he's like, oh my gosh, sorry, I had no idea. So we fixed all that. It took us about 2 or 3 weeks. We got it all fixed. And Amazon called him back and said, yeah, hey, George, we saw this article or whatever. He goes, yeah, no, it all should be down now. He goes, no, that's not what I mean. It was the guy from the head of R&D at Amazon DSP and liked what he saw. And he wanted to know more. He said, you wouldn't have been in violation of our terms of service if you were our partner. So just click the link below and the email I sent, and you'll be a partner. It's like, what? Then he called again, and I'm paraphrasing things here. He asked them basically to partner up because he liked what George was doing. And George is basically like, whatever you guys are doing, just don't stop. Just keep doing what you're doing. One interesting thing that he found, though, at the beginning was he found he started to get a lot of business. And it wasn't necessarily all new business. He said, he would have a call with a guy 6 months ago or 3 months or a year ago or whatever. Call went well, but just fizzled out. No real contact. They all started coming out of the woodwork because of this exposure he was getting. And that's been fantastic. And I mean, George is such a wonderful, nice guy. So I couldn't be happier for him. But when I spoke to him the other day, he basically said, he goes, I find it's an interesting pattern with this every month. Things kind of die off, don't hear much. Then boom, boom, boom. He gets this big flurry of business, and then it kind of dies off, and boom, 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 flurry of business. And that's the pattern month after month, coinciding probably when we're pushing out the content, because as I mentioned before, we create a whole bunch of different content, push out through distribution networks. And it takes us, maybe up to a week to do all that, sometimes a little bit less. So it's, it's not just for Amazon sellers, it's for any type of online business or exposure. And you can do that yourself too. Yeah, you might not have access to a distribution network like we do. But I think the key is to put out high quality content, well written, multiple formats if you can. If you've got the ability to write blogs, great. Do videos, wonderful. Take out a press release, great. Link them all up, nice clean links, no spam, no pages being landed on with sales pop-ups, like just nice and clean. So Google just sees it as wonderful content, and you will eventually get rewarded for it.
Yeah, yeah. And first, Jim, I didn't know you were in New Zealand. Wow. And then we've got, who was it? I just saw somebody's tuning in. Andrew from Ethiopia. Wow. Welcome, welcome. And I see Victor's back to the party. Merry Christmas, Victor. All right. So one of the things you just mentioned about content, and then we're going to move on to something a little bit different. But, if you're writing your own content, or if you have a writer that you're trying to get the information for, a lot of people go to a site called Ask the Public, and it'll just show you type in a keyword and it'll show you just different questions that people are asking. But we've talked about this about a month ago, and they've improved their app, by the way. And if you're listening, you've got to take a look at this app. It's called Phrase, FRASE.com.
It's .io, isn't it?
Or .io, sorry.
And
Phrase.
it's also answerthepublic.com, not ask. You always make that mistake.
Answer the Public. There we go. Thanks for correcting me. Now I'm turning red. All right. So Answer the Public. Okay. And Phrase.io. Okay. So anyways, check it out, because what this does is if you type in a keyword, or let's say you want to write an article, it'll go through the internet and it'll take the top articles based on that keyword. So natural bully sticks. And all of a sudden, 20 articles get summarized that you can send over to your writer. Now, that writer can take that information and just get a bunch of information, a bunch of research that they don't need to go and check out. The other thing it does, similar to Answer the Public, it creates this mind map almost of the top articles in the area, or within that keyword phrase, and you can just click on them and get more information and more information. Then the highlight of this, guys, this is so cool. You can publish your article as a draft. You can then Phrase will go and check it out, and then the next thing it'll do is that it will tell you exactly what it will take to improve the article to get it onto page one. So how cool is that? And it's very, very inexpensive. The guys from Phrase were on, and they were talking a bit about it about a month ago. And if you're not using it, you got to check it out. Chelsea, check it out. Anyway, and I think there are probably some questions as well, right, Kels?
Yes, we have 3 questions lined up.
Okay.
If you're ready, I believe this is from Ella. What are your best guerrilla marketing techniques for people with a little budget?
Oh, I think just let's talk about the distribution, just using blog article distribution. That would probably be my.
I was going to say use darts. Oh, hang on. Different type of gorilla. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I'll dart you.
That was supposed to be a joke. Why doesn't anybody laugh at my joke? I think
because they're not
funny. Very funny. No, that's a good one. Actually, because let's say you're saving money, you're writing your own blog articles, great. Syndicate them. It's not expensive to syndicate them. Do you one a month, whatever, or just just do one press release a month. It doesn't have to be stellar. Now, it's not going to change your business overnight. But Norm, you can attest to this. We've had clients for years who have just steady Eddie one press release a month, or sometimes more, but drip, 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 drip. 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, they own page 1 of Google for certain terms because they had a keyword strategy and they just kept at it. And that's the trick. If you're on a little budget, you just got to keep at it.
And another form of guerrilla marketing that I think you could look at, depends how aggressive you want to be, but and you're going to hear so much about this. It's going to be like rebates last year, but influencers and brand ambassadors. That is going to be being able to refine it to get influencers to work with you. And so the trick will be getting your customers to become your influencers, to become your brand ambassadors. That is I know that we were working with somebody, Hayden was just telling me this, that over a period of a month, we got over 20 or 30 brand ambassadors. So to get a brand ambassador, usually it's taking that influencer that gets paid for something to an influencer doing something for you for free because they love the product. And so if you get those people on and they've got fairly good networks, then talk about guerrilla marketing. And we've talked about Paul's brand before, where over the last 3 months, he's got 2,000 images. He wanted a video, and he just said, hey, look, can you check out, I have these benefits of my product. Can you send me some videos for Amazon Live? And he got 20 or 30 basically over a weekend. So there's lots of material, it's all about content. And I think that's what's going to be the game changer in 2021, other than inventory management. And again, talking about inventory management, so stocked. Chelsea's, actually it's just a coincidence, but Chelsea Cohen's, live today. So if you are looking at a really inexpensive way of inventory solutions, inventory management, check out So Stocked. I love the program, and that's why I just saw Chelsea was on there, by the way. No, not that we have an affiliate or anything, just because it's a great program. So any other types of guerrilla marketing that you think?
Way to spring that on me. Well, it's funny because I think I was telling the story about my buddy Vic in Barcelona and his issue he had at the beginning of November, where he just slowly, and this kind of ties into the influencer thing, he slowly got involved with a few TikTok people. Nothing, like he wasn't pressing, his product happened to get picked up. Beginning of November, I called him, and he was in a big, I can't talk now, I'm in a big panic. And I talked to him a couple days later. He says, you wouldn't believe what happened. He's a pretty big seller. I don't know, I'm sure he's over 8 figures, but whatever, he's decent size. Beginning of November, he's geared up for inventory. He's got a great gift product too, wonderful gift product. So he's loaded to the max for inventory. He sold out of all his Q4 inventory of every product in 6 hours because one TikTok video went viral, got 30 million views. It's a good problem to have, and it was a terrible problem to have because then he was scrambling with suppliers and everything else. But that just shows the power of just one little thing. Now that's a little bit of a Hail Mary, and he wasn't planning on it. He wasn't trying. It just happened. It was actually the second time it's happened to him. But you could, if you're savvy, just start hanging out with some of those, poking around those crowds that get some big followings on platforms like TikTok. And you never know what can happen. Offer to send someone for free if it seems like they jive with your audience. Just you can play that game. It's kind of like as some of these new social media platforms develop, it's kind of like it was in the old days. Remember, when Thomason first came out and some of those other places, you could hit it big with some people, and then it kind of got diluted and kind of changed and everything. Every now and then you kind of get a rerun of what used to be. And I don't think that the new social media platforms are going to stop being developed. I mean, everybody, as we know, is jumping onto Clubhouse. That's a bit different, of course. I don't think that's going to, certainly in its current iteration, isn't going to, do what TikTok has done. It's designed for something different. But the point is there's always something new and fresh coming out. And kids these days, they're always got these crazy ideas. So.
Okay, and Oleg, I just noticed you're from Calgary. And Richard, Merry Christmas to you, San Diego. Hey, Mark, thanks for dropping on. Danny, Merry Christmas, sir. I believe in London. And, by the way, Danny McMillan, if it wasn't for Danny, I don't think I'd be doing this. So, thank you for the chats on how to get this thing all set up a few months back. And if you haven't had a chance, Danny's podcast, Seller Sessions, is awesome. It's probably the best podcast out there. So check it out. Well, don't leave this podcast, please. All right, Victor, man, you know what? I said to Kelsey when we were going to start this Christmas episode, I wonder if anybody's going to be on. It'll probably just be me and Shane talking, or, me ripping on Kelsey. I can't believe how many people are, on the podcast today. So thank you, everybody. All right. So, do you want to talk a little bit about these editorial recommendations that I guess are the rage right now?
Yeah, sure. And actually, I'd like to talk a little bit more about offsite articles too, because I think that in a lot of ways they're more powerful for certain types of brands and products. But so I think everybody knows what Amazon Editorial Recommendations are. You type in a keyword for lots of different products, top of page one, near the top, you'll have Amazon Editorial Recommendations, and you'll see usually up to six different products featured there, or 6 ASINs featured there. You only see 3 at one time, and there's an article to the left-hand side. You can click on the article and read the article. It's usually a review-style article written by a third-party publisher, and it's often a review of XYZ silicone spatula. Here's the pros and maybe 1 or 2 cons, and there you go. It's like kind of having like a paid review stuck at the top of the page of Amazon. And of course, it's third party. So it's a third party authority party talking about it, not you talking about your own product, not Amazon. It's a third party. And that's really cool. And for a long time, we didn't know how to get in there. Like sometimes you'd see one of your products sometimes show up there. You think, oh, how'd that happen? Oh, that's cool. I have no idea the effect it was having, right? Because how would you know, right? And what it is it's part of in the case of Amazon, it's part of the On-Site Associates program. And it's an affiliate play. And it's an affiliate play by Amazon and a publisher. So you get XYZ blog or influencer or website or whatever, talking about different products. They get a little bit of a kickback if a purchase is made from clicking on that ASIN. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's only a 20. So let me go back. It has its own algorithm. It's a slow algorithm. It's easy to manipulate. But it's going to, so if I type in green silicone spatula, Norm types in green silicone spatula, we're going to see different results depending on the region we're from and all that type of stuff, but also based on our browsing and purchase history. So it is a smart algorithm. It does figure things out, but it's only got a 24-hour cookie. Unlike PPC, which will last a few days. So if someone logs in on Friday, they click your ad, and then Sunday or Monday they purchase, it's going to be attributed to PPC. This is only 24 hours, and it's only if they click your ASIN in the editorial recommendations. Remember when I said there's an article on the left and products on the right? If they click and read the article, then they leave that and they see your organic listing or PPC or whatever, and they click it and buy it. It's not attributed to editorial recommendations. It should be, but it's not. It's only click the ASIN. So to me, it's a real bargain, because what we do at the end of it, like when we're placing people there, what we do is we find a publisher in the On-Sites program, we get them to write the article, and then we make sure it gets approved by Amazon. And most of our ASINs will get approved, and there's certain criteria which I can talk about later. But what was I going to say about that? Someone's going to lost my.
I don't know. The last thing I heard was you're going to give me $500 or something.
Oh yeah, that's right. So that's kind of in a really big nutshell how that. Oh, I already didn't talk about reporting. That's what I was missing. So at the end of once you get placed, then every 30 days after that article's placed, you're going to get a report, or we'll probably have a dashboard for you to log in. But you can see how many sales were attributed to editorial recommendations. You'll see an increase in PPC and organic sales if there is, which there usually is. And you're going to get the metrics on how much of the share of voice, they call it. Amazon calls shares of voice. So how often your article was shown in those front 3 spots, not the ones buried in 4, 5, 6 spots, and what keywords it was showing up for. And Amazon will sometimes experiment with this. So some days you might be showing up for certain keywords. Other days, there might be another one added on. You never know. And we don't really have a lot of control over that. We give them suggestions, but it's primarily based on your title as well. I'm assuming that nobody's going to, contribute an article that isn't, the keywords aren't in their title, just like you're not going to run PPC. Well, I shouldn't say that. No, that's not true. But it's attributed to the title. Like that's where most of the keyword love comes from, for where they're going to place you. The other big question about that is, it is the third party writing about it. So you have no control of what they say. You can't submit an article and say, I want you to talk about this or that. Like, they're just going to write it, but they're going to write it based on your listing. Only your listing. They're not going to look at any of that. They're not going to look at your website, because they have to put themselves in the shoes of the Amazon shopper. If the information isn't there on your product detail page, they're not going to talk about it. So a lot of people kind of get concerned and say, oh, they put a con in there. Well, yeah, they got that from your review on Amazon, and they need to be realistic. But they're not going to write a crappy article about your thing because it's an affiliate play for them. Why would they want to deter?
That's important. So Field and Stream, Better Gardens, Better Homes and Gardens, all these types of magazines. If you've got, let's say I'm in Vanity Fair, and I've got a soap, and they go over and they take a look at the soap. They want people to click on that listing, because you're not only on Amazon above the fold, but you can also drive traffic from any social media platform directly over to Vanity Fair to buy the product. So you have that play as well. And what Vanity Fair is doing is they're writing this article, Good, Bad, and Ugly, about your product. So they definitely don't want to deter, and you won't get published. If you have a product that sucks, forget getting into the magazine. So it's just like everything else that we say. You have an optimized listing before we would do anything like this, or before you would approach a publisher like this. But it is an affiliate play for them. They make money once somebody clicks on the listing.
Like, another important thing there that you touched on is, and most people don't even think this, but we have the power to do, because that's what we do. It ties back to what you're talking about with content press releases. Okay, great. You've got an editorial recommendation. First of all, they give you a unique link for that. Wonderful. Share that. Make a video. Influencers, press releases, blogs. You start to link to that, and you're going to give that more love. You'll get more share of voice. But you can that's a great press release topic. XYZ featured on Amazon editorial recommendations. Great, wonderful. It just going into the parameters it takes to get onto the system. Generally about 20 to 30,000 in revenue for your seller account. So if your seller account doesn't do at least 20K, you're probably not going to get in. Should have at least 100 reviews. I've seen less. 4 stars or above, roughly, and be in the top 20% or so of your category. So if all your keywords are buried on page 6, not going to happen. It's an affiliate play. They want some love. So you got to have at least a couple of keywords ranking pretty well, top of page 1 for some of those terms in order to get in. Now, I've seen exceptions to all those rules, but that's just a general guideline, because I don't think there is a hard and fast rule.
And what can people expect, Shane? Any increase in sales?
Yeah, usually. But the interesting thing, so let's just say your sales go 5% from it. Because it's only the 24-hour cookie, a lot of times you'll see, up to 5% increase in organic, or up to 5% increase in PPC as well, equaling 15%. Depends on the product, depends on the price, depends on, factors coming out the yin yang. But for the most part, you will see an increase. I've never seen a bad thing happen from having your product placed at the top of page 1 of you. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It seems kind of silly, but we have some very specific strategies. Probably don't have time to get into it in this call, but in terms of getting multiple articles up for the same ASIN, for placing different articles for different keywords for the same ASIN, a lot of different strategies we can do. But it's difficult to plan that from the beginning. You have to kind of have to go one step at a time. Get one article placed, see how it's doing, see where it's showing. Okay, go after this other article, make sure it jives with the keywords in the title, or go after another keyword set. So you kind of have to let it unfold. But the one thing I will say is, if you want to be in editorial recommendations and you're not, do it now, because it's a first mouse gets the cheese scenario. Once editorial recommendations are full full of those 6 people, you're not getting in. You're not getting in. They're not going to create any more. And it's very hard to dislodge someone from one of those positions. You have to be out of inventory for a bit of time, or just get your listing hammered into the dust somehow, which is probably, being attacked black hat to make room. Now, I'm not saying room doesn't open up from time to time naturally. Sure, it can, but you might be on a long wait list. So it's better to get there first and let everybody else nip at your heels. And if as long as your listing continues to do well, there should be no reason why you get dislodged. And that article can stay there for years.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
So I noticed that Rad had a question here. What was it, Rad? About editor's choice popping up. So that's the same thing that what we're talking about, the editorial recommendations. And you see the 3 columns and one's editorial choice. That's what we're talking about. So another thing I like about this is it's above the fold. Mm-hmm. So, you've got your layer of sponsored ads, you've got your next row of organic, and then that next layer is editorial's choice. And they've done that purposely. They don't want people scrolling down. If they see editorial's choice, right under, and it's above the fold, the chances of somebody clicking it are going to be that much more. Now, I've heard it could be 10%, it could be as high as 30%, depending on who you're listening to about this. But I would definitely think that if Field and Stream and I was selling something to do in that niche, and they're saying how great the product is, chances are I'd probably buy the product.
Yeah, it saves the consumer. Like a lot of people go off of Amazon, type it in, look at review sites. It's all right there, right? So if you're selling fields or streams, so. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's really good stuff. There's no reason why an Amazon seller's ASIN wouldn't qualify, why I wouldn't want to have that. I definitely have it. But there's another thing that I don't think we have a lot of time, but it's off-site articles. Oh, and just one last thing. Sorry, itchy nose. This is also available in the UK. They call it recommended articles, or a slightly different word. Nobody's doing it there. Nobody's taking advantage. You've seen in the UK. For the love of God, please just get your ASIN in there now. Who knows? Like it's so less competitive in that space, and it's a lot faster to get published there. It's kind of 4, 5, 6 weeks to get published on Amazon.com, 2-3 weeks usually for .co.uk. So take advantage of that. Second thing is off-site articles, and off-site articles are really cool because they're a different animal, but they're Amazon editorial recommendations. You're not going to see supplements there. You're not going to see keto there. You're not going to see what was the product that came up the other day? Dog shock collars. Like there's all kinds of different terms of stuff you will not see editorial recommendations for whatever reasons Amazon is deemed. Okay, fine, fair enough. And if you're a supplement seller, you know what the struggle is sometimes to get the word out about your product. You're very restricted in advertising and all kinds of things. Well, offsite articles don't have those same restrictions. So a lot of times if you can't get if there's no keywords appropriate for your product and no information, you can do off-site.
Are you talking about earned media here, like public relations, or are you talking about something different?
I'm talking about off-site articles. So it's in the same family as editorial recommendations. So when I said that Amazon editorial recommendations can stay up for a couple of years, right? Off-site is generally a short-term play. Okay, so it's cheaper to get in. We don't charge as much. And what we do is we take your ASINs, and we don't have as a high a publish rate. Maybe only 30 or 40% of the time we'll get your ASIN published somewhere. I think that's going to change this year as we add more publishers. Now, it's a different group than the On-Site Associates program. But what happens is we take your ASIN and we shop for 30 days. We shop it around. If we can get one publication, great. If we can get 2, 3, wonderful. And it's a high-end publisher, like Wirecutter, for example. Like there's all kinds of that's the caliber. It's not Joe Blow's blog. He's got 12 followers. They wouldn't qualify to be in the publishing group. And what happens is they will write an article and publish it. But unlike Amazon editorial recommendations, they love promos, discounts, things like that. So if you've got a discount code, or you're doing, hey, for 1 week only, February 8th to 15th or whatever, you got the sale on, they love that, because what they do is they're going to push that article hard to their people in advertising. So they're going to push out email notifications, push notifications on mobile to subscribers. They'll take out Google ads, go to their newsletter, blah, blah, blah. They'll do whatever they can to their means to push us because it's a pure affiliate play for them, right? So if it's let's say Valentine's Day, you do got a product that does very well, let's get that out to them at least 2 weeks prior. We can cut it maybe close to a week, but let's give as much time as possible, 2, 3, 4 weeks if we can. See if we can get some of these people to push it out, and they'll push it out to their audience. It's like earned media because you're getting a high authority recognition site writing about you, okay, and then driving the links. Now, you don't have to drive the links to Amazon. You can if you want to. You could drive to your Shopify, Walmart.com, wherever you want. It doesn't matter. But a lot of people do very, very well on this. Boom, sales blow up. Depends on the type of product you have, depends on the time of year, who the publisher is, all that type of stuff. Lots of people don't always see a huge bump off-site. But if one of their links is going back to Amazon, they will often do it just for a big Amazon boost. And they see that all the time. It's a big halo boost on Amazon. We know now Amazon, well, we've always known they liked it, but now they've given more weight to offsite sales and traffic. So I like to, when I'm talking to clients, I'm like, let's make this a quarterly strategy. If you've got 12 products, let's just rotate, 4 every quarter, or every month we'll do 4, or like whatever, but constantly keep submitting because we can only get them in 30, 40% of the time. So if you submit 10 ASINs, maybe we'll get 2, maybe we'll get 5, maybe we'll get 3. I don't know. Well, it just depends. Like time of year, there's so many factors involved, but constantly keeping it out there and just bam, bam. I view it kind of like a lightning deal. Like you get that big boost, you get that halo, but it's obviously off-site. And again, you can drive these links to your Shopify site if you want to. It doesn't have to be Amazon. So it's a shorter-term play. It's a high-authority play. It doesn't last for. I shouldn't say it doesn't last for years. That article will stick around on their site for a long time, but they're only going to push it probably for a short period of time. Now you can be savvy and put a discount code on there, which you don't cancel. You can say, hey, we've got this discount code for the month of May. Just don't cancel it. People keep using it. That can happen. Some people do that, but I don't think you get a ton of traffic kind of once that initial burst is over. That's why I keep rolling them over, or suggest to roll them over.
So if a person wants to do that themselves, they can contact a publisher and just...
maybe. Yeah. How would you know who's in that publishing group, though? It's not a public thing. Yeah.
One thing that I'm thinking of is you could always go to LinkedIn, find out who the publishers are. Yeah. The other thing is, I don't know if this would work, but I know Cision definitely has one play that'll work. But help a reporter out, which is free. You might be able to get some information there. The only like Cision database will tell you everything about a publisher and who it is, and then you can try to apply yourself. But Cision is fairly expensive, but it's not impossible to go and do this yourself. And I think that's what you should know. Like we have with Wirecutter, for example, we have a client that just did it themselves. Wirecutter found their product, gave them a review. And it's really weird. Like I've told you about this before, is all of a sudden there's a spike in sales and there'll be an extra $100,000, like $100,000 every time this happens. And you go, where's this coming from? It's just not normal. Oh, they ran a promo. And you go back to Wirecutter and they just ran a promo and they kill it. So anyways, if you get best in category on a company like that, which is it's a sub of New York Times, you're just printing money. But again, you've got to have a good product to do that. So, Kels, is there any other questions? Oh, sorry. And before we do that, let's get a Christmas draw going. So I'm going to give away, Shane's rolling his eyes because I always tell him afterwards, oh, we gave away this package and that package. Okay. So let's give away a press release. Okay, that'll be the top prize. Press release written for you. and we'll make sure that it all goes to Shane. So, so we'll give that away as top prize, and all you have to do is just put "I love PR." That's it. I love PR. Hashtag I love PR, and you'll be entered into that draw. And then we're going to take 2 other winners, and we're going to give them a box of chocolates. So, Merry Christmas. So if you want to start putting that in right now, anybody who's on, just I love PR, and we'll enter it in, and we'll take the draw after these next couple of questions because we've just run over an hour.
I think that what we should do is we should win a date with Kelsey.
There we
Why
go.
not?
There, win a date with Kelsey.
Why not?
Yep.
Oh, my girlfriend will like that.
All right. So next question, while the people are putting I love PR.
Okay, so we had 2 questions. One was a pretty big question. So
Yep. Let's go.
but let's do the easy one first.
Okay.
Is Shopify store automatically optimized for mobile for searches over desktop for Google?
I think most of the the themes are responsive. And by the way, if you're not aware of this, that Google is you will not get indexed. I think it's in January, February, if your Google website is not optimized, a responsive, which means it's just ready for mobile, if it's not responsive. So I don't know if anybody's seen that, but if you don't have a responsive theme in your WordPress site, or if you've got somebody that just did a custom site for you, or in Shopify, I think Shopify's safe. You just want to just check on the theme that you're using, but I think they're all responsive in Shopify. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question.
And last one, how can we take advantage of Amazon posts in a cost-efficient way if we don't have a lot of time?
Okay, well, and guys, we're winding down the podcast today too. So if you do have these questions that are outside of the norm, no pun intended, just let us throw them in the chat in the comment section. So probably the most cost-effective way for you to take advantage of Amazon posts right now would be influencers, and more influencers. We don't have to go with large-scale, mid-tier, macro, or celebrity-type influencers. You can stick to the very minor influencers, like we call them nano influencers, which are 1,000 to 10,000, or micro, 10,000 to 100,000. These are people that have tons of engagement. The more you go up the pyramid, the less engagement. So especially with the nano, I think that Shane and I both have found nano influencers to be the most effective. So, and those are people that, you say that these coffee mugs are the greatest coffee mugs in the world. Their friends, family, and other people see it, and then they'll put it onto their Instagram account, or they'll write a blog article about it. And all of a sudden, why are you laughing?
Because you said Nanu.
Nano.
Yeah, like Mork and Mindy Nanu. I don't know if anybody's. It's okay.
Does your
Nanu influencers.
Hey, does your voice get on your nerves too?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's probably the best and most effective way of doing that. How do you do this? You can just approach them. We have on some of our show notes, I think 4 or 5 different search strings that you can use for Facebook, Instagram, and within Google. So just check out, and maybe Kelsey can add that podcast into the show notes here. But it's very easy to find influencers. And then once they start working with you, you can get them to do all sorts of things. They can even write content for you. They'll take videos. The more that they love the product, the more that they'll do. And that is very inexpensive. The only catch then is writing the copy. So, you have to either do that copy yourself. And there's been a major change, by the way, in posts. Have you guys noticed this? You're no longer allowed to do duplicate posts. So one of the things that we're playing with is any of the posts that have done really well, if the engagement's really great, we withdraw the post and then we repost. We're just experimenting with this now, but we started to notice that we were getting these rejections because we were duplicating the content. So that's just something that's just come out this week. I haven't seen it any earlier. All right. Any other questions?
Well, we're at the hour and 5 and no more questions.
Oh, what's Alan got here?
Alan says, I'll sponsor 3/10 of Quality Street if you wish.
Well, there we go. Thank you, Alan. All right. So it's going to be stocking stuffers for a bunch of people.
I'll write this down. Okay. So I think that's... Oh, and we have one question.
Yep.
How can I get in touch with Shane Oglow?
Why?
Well, I mean, you can't blame him, really. I mean, come on.
Rad. Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, Shane can be reached at shane@prreach.com.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions before we wind down and go to the draw? We're going once. And if you want to join the draw, just I love PR.
So just send Afalabi the details of the winners.
Very good. Thanks,
Okay.
Ellen. That's awesome.
All right. So we have, is it 5 boxes of chocolate or 5 chocolates and a prREACH?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So shall we start?
We shall. We got another Zach. Anticipation.
A second. I accidentally spun it already. I'll just have to
Kel.
hold on a second.
Okay. You have one job.
Okay. There we go. So now I got to share my screen. And
You're not sharing your screen.
there we go. All right. So the first one we'll do the prREACH, the PR. Okay. So 3, 2, 1.
Yarrow.
Okay.
Congrats.
PR.
So that's for the PR. Yarrow, just get in touch with Kelsey.
All right, let's see. So for the 5 boxes of chocolates, let's see. So first one, we got Andrew.
Okay. Congrats, Andrew.
We got Zach.
Perfect. Zach, you squeaked in at the very last. You won.
We got Oleg.
Perfect. Almost Victor.
I don't know if Alan will want to win his own chocolates, but all right. We got Tony. And last one. Hey, I'm gonna. Should I take Alan off?
Okay. So it's going to be, you know what? We'll add another box of chocolate. We'll make Victor and Rad winners because they were on the podcast today. And Alan, for being such a nice guy, we're going to get you a free PR as well. So,
all right.
Okay. So anybody who entered today, thank you. You all won our Christmas special, and enjoy everything. Now, Shane, I have to let you know that we're giving away PRs today, and Kelsey, all those chocolates you got to coordinate. Okay, so I think that's it for today. Well, it's not like Oprah. We're not giving away cars. That's next year. All right, Shane. Hey, you know what? Thanks a lot for coming on today. I know it's Christmas Day, and you spent an hour and change with us. Go back, enjoy the day, have some eggnog, and all the best.
Thanks, Norm.
All right. See you later, Shane.
Bye.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Man, I can't believe we had so many people on this podcast today. So I really appreciate it. We kind of just chilled out and had some fun. Anyways, thanks, everybody. It's been great. Our community's growing. We would not have a community as great as we have if it wasn't for you. Thanks for all the engagement. Kelsey, is there anything else?
I think just one last thing we need to do is have you put that Santa Claus hat on one last time. Perfect. I'll full screen it.
Thanks.
There we go.
There we go.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Ho, ho, ho. Okay, so I think that's it.
So yeah, thanks for joining us. We didn't know what kind of response we'd get on a Christmas Day, but obviously, even if you guys were just popping in just to say Merry Christmas and hello, that was great. Yeah, we had a good turnout for Christmas. And I see a couple people were talking about like the Beard Nation. So we have decided on the name Beard Nation for our little community group. So if you haven't yet, if you're watching from like the personal profile or the Facebook page, go to the Norman Farrar Facebook group, Lunch with Norm, and Amazon FBA and eCommerce Collective, and join the Beard Nation. Links are in the bios of today's episode. And we got a bunch more Merry Christmases coming in. So thanks for joining us, everyone. It was awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so that's it for today's show. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I mean every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Hey, everybody, have a Merry Christmas and enjoy the rest of your day.
Lunch with the